Hello, welcome back again. Another episode or another streaming about ZBrush and jewelry. My name is Nacho Riesco, and we will be here during the next 2 hours sculpting jewelry designs with ZBrush. So, as I have been checking everything before I went live. I'm still checking, just excuse me if I am not starting the streaming now, so let me know if the music sound is good. I can see the camera is not well on focus, and you can hear my voice. The music is not too loud on the background, so we can go ahead. Let me see the chat. Hey Fexter, how are you? I'm fine, and you? Hope you are well too. Here I am again. So one as every month. So I skip. I think today we are in March now. In February maybe. I didn't make the stream or the live, but I still have in mind to stream once a month. So don't worry about it, and thank you very much for your concern. But I will be here streaming or making lives with Maxon once a month, so no worries. So I will be here talking about jewelry and ZBrush, or making products for 3D printing with ZBrush. You can call it whatever you want. So, but okay, we will be more focused about jewelry. And but I'm still thinking about that break. But I will tell you something at the end of the streaming, what I have in mind about my future streaming. So this is still not 100% solid. So I'm still thinking about it, but I am starting thinking about start making something different, or at least making an opening for more people during private sessions of my live streamings. I don't know, it's still an idea. Design with fun. You miss me, so thank you very much, and thanks to you for being here watching this live. Feblin1, thank you very much for being here. I love that you are here also. And see the camera still a bit off. Okay, there you go. So looks like everything is working. Maybe a bit the music, a bit more music sound on the background. And let's start. I'm sorry, but I'm still checking some settings of OBS and about the sound. Okay. Looks like everything is working, and looks like everything is working now on Twitch also. I don't know what if you are watching me through Facebook. I don't know. I'm guessing not, but it is not a big problem. I'm most of the time I'm a user of YouTube more than Twitch. I also have an account on Twitch, but I don't use it. Hey, James Landry, so I'm going to do hard surface modeling. Yeah, baby, we can call it hard surface modeling. Let's start talking about what we are about to make today. Today we're going to start a new design. You have been watching my previous streamings. You know that I used to be at least 3, maybe 4, maybe no more than 3. I'm trying making no more than 3 streamings, making the same kind of design. So once I cover 3 streamings, when we are talking about streaming, we are talking about months, because I am streaming once a month. So I try to finalize the design and start a new one. And today is going to be the first day about a new one. What I have in mind is this one. What I have something in mind, so I didn't have time for making a sketch or showing you. I just having this collection of different images I have been gathering just for grabbing different ideas, or the main thing behind The concept is we are about to create this kind of a scrolling work, or ornamental kind of work. We can call this floral baroque kind of ornamental stuff, or maybe a scrolling when we are talking about curves or leaves. And this is very common to see with this kind of forms when we are talking about leaves, when we are having this kind of very typical acanthus leaves. Or, and also here you have another handles for knives, where we can see this kind of ornamental stuff on the handle. So we're going to use this. Also, the main concept is going to be a mix between a heart and a dagger or a sword like this. But this is not going to be the position that I'm going to that I like. I'm going to put this sword, or the it's going to be more a dagger, or I don't know how to pronounce it, is dagger or dagger, I don't know. So, but you know what I mean. This is a big knife. The knife will go from top to bottom of the heart. It's like he is passing through the heart with a kind of a meaning. Of course, we're gonna put an emerald, a pearl, ruby red stone at the bottom of the heart, just for giving it even more meaning. And we're gonna start creating this kind of opening work. The heart is not going to be solid. It's going to be like a net, or with an open spaces, with a lot of air between the different scrolls or curves. And that's the reason why I have this is the idea that I have behind about the detailing. Of course, this is not going to be exactly this technique, because this technique is more like engraving. We are going to create more volume 3D object. This is not going to be an engraved surface like this one. We're gonna create more volumes, or more 3D forms, instead of a flat surface for a surface engraved with lines. But of course, we can talk about this if you want. And more inspiration that I collect, for example, this could be a good example. This is a nice mix between 3D volumes on 3D forms and engraving. So we can be talking about a mix between each concept. I found this picture, this image. It is based on a very ancient and old drawings from the 19th century, based on different heart shapes. And the one that I like most is this one. We will try probably a combination of maybe 2 or 3, because there are some elements that I like from this one, but there are other elements that I don't. So maybe we can start making a mix between different ideas from the different drawings that we have here. And also talking about the dagger or the knife, I like for example, in this picture, this shape, the form of the blade. I like this one, this shape. And the idea is that the dagger is going to be possible to being assembled inside of the heart. And we can wear the pendant with or without the dagger, depending. We're going to have 2 pendants in one for the heart, and another one for only for the dagger, for the knife itself. That's the idea. So we're going to try to create an assembling system, very easy to assembling or unassembling the dagger on the heart and from the heart. And let's see what it comes. So this is the more or less the collection of ideas that I have in mind for the design that we're about to start today. And let's start creating something interesting. Okay. If you have any questions or any doubts about what I'm doing, doesn't matter if they are referring about something that I am making on the screen, or if you have any question or doubts or suggestions about any other possible ZBrush techniques, or so, just go ahead and write it on the chat. I will be paying as attention as possible to the chat, to your comments, so just for talking with you at the same time that I'm working as usual. And welcome everybody. First, whatever you have in mind. Okay, you are in, so you are welcome as always, Vector. So let's do it. Tau TK986. It's in. We can't have simultaneous translation. Translation. Yeah. Are you? Yeah. Maybe. Do you speak Italian? If you want to being translated in Spanish, I can do it if you want. Yeah, this is not a pure ref. This is a pure ref. So this is a pure ref is very useful. I love it because double clicking on the image, you can zoom in and zoom out. You can frame it. You can frame each every time you double click on an image. So it is very useful. As I said, we're gonna base mainly, or at least at the beginning, the shape of the hair based on this drawing. And this, for example, I don't like this scrolls that goes from the bottom to the sides, and they pass through the limits of the heart. So probably I'm going to get rid of this two scroll. So I like this, the main form here, maybe this one, or we're gonna start creating this shape first, about the heart shape. Okay, thank you, Fexter. Glad you like it. So let me know if the music is not too loud or you're even can listen it on the background, because I'm still fighting with the proper settings about the music. And let's go. Let's start working. Stop talking and start working. So we have, as usual, when you are about to create a physical object, that means that the thing or the object or the design that you are about to create on the screen, you have in mind to send it out to a 3D printer or to a CNC machine. So that means that the scale or the units, the millimeters in this case, they are going to be very important. So the first step to take is to set up the scene to the right units of measurement and give the right units or the right measurements to the object that we are about to create. So, or by default, the object that we have inside of ZBrush, they are very tiny. This is a 2 by 2 by 2 millimeters. Most of our we can say all of the primitives that we have here, they are 2 by 2 by 2 millimeters. If we are grabbing a cube, we are talking about 2 by 2 by 2 millimeters. So we are gonna need to set up the scale first before start working. So let's go them to the C plugins. Let's go to the scale master. Let's set the scene scale first. So set the scene scale. So ZBrush is giving us a mistake because the cube is not a 3D object yet, because it is still a primitive. So we need to make a polymesh first, and now we are going to be able to read the units, the measurements. So it is 2 by 2 millimeters, as we just said before. So, and we are thinking about a pendant. I think it's gonna be mainly a pendant for women. So I mean, it's not gonna be a very big ball piece of jewelry. I used to trend to make a small object or as smaller as possible in terms of saving weight, saving money, cost of material. We are talking about jewelry, but we are talking about maybe 30 millimeters. Could be maybe too much, but I can show you something that you can do. Did you have the chance? Let me open my tool sections, and here we have a custom folder that I have. Let me see. No. Maybe it is not. I was thinking about the base mesh that I used in the past, based off an scattered body of a woman. That means that it is based on real units, but I don't know what it is. Let me see if I have inside of the tool. Yeah, scan things. Okay, I'm gonna open this. I think you are gonna be able to. I don't know. I'm not sure where I bought it. This, because it must be somewhere on the internet or whatever you can find on the internet based on real human bodies. There are many different places where you can, for example, this, you can grab this. You can see this is based on a real person. This is and it's 3D scan of a real person. If we go now to the scale master and we set the scene scale now it is, if we are talking about the person, of course, has more sense to talk about centimeters instead of millimeters. So this is 28 millimeter by 36 by 22. That means that we have in the y-axis from the bottom to the top of the head, we have 36 millimeters. Has sense? Yes, more or less. That means that just for example, if we decide, for example, let's see, if we append now a cube, and the cube is going to be 2 by 2 by 2 millimeters as before. Whoop. Resize the tool. Let's frame it. This is the, if we send the head to the center of the workspace like this, and this is the tiny cube. This is the 2 millimeters compared with a real head. For example, we were talking, we are not sure about which is going to be the proper size for our pendant. We can, of course, we can grab a tool for taking measurements. I was thinking about making a 30 millimeter high pendant. For example, now we can go now to, let me put this here, this one. If we go, let's go from 2 to 30 millimeters. Let's resize the tool, and now this is what we get. Let me see, where is it here? Okay, let me make it again. 30 millimeters. So you can see it is small. Just keep in mind that this, I think I have, you can see I am deforming the cube at the same time I'm moving the cube, so I should be here. So if we are going to create, we are going to create here the heart with the dagger. The heart plus the dagger, or the handle of the dagger, is going to be higher. Maybe we can be talking about 35 millimeter, maybe 40 millimeter, maybe between 35 and 40 millimeters. It's going to be big enough, I think, because as I said before, we don't want to make a very big piece of jewelry. That means that 30 millimeters has sense instead of proportions compared with a human chest or with a human body. But we can come back now to the primitives, and instead of a cube, I prefer to use a plane as a template instead of a cube in this case. So let's convert to polymesh, and let's read again the units, and let's go from, it's going to be important to keep the R active. So let's go from 2 to 30 millimeter. So resize the tool. So we are starting working with a tool of 30 millimeters wide and a 30 millimeter tall. This is going to be our template, just for when we are placing the different elements of the heart. We are having a reference to know that we are over the 30 millimeters or we are below 30 millimeters, just for having a proportional or a scale reference, just for not making things bigger or smaller than expected. So now we can turn on the Z-axis from the floor. We can now go to the draw menu. Let's make the grid size a little bit bigger, and then let's go to front back section, clicking on the map 1 button and clicking on import, and we are going to find the heart drawings I was showing to you before. Let me see. They must be here. I'm looking for this picture, right? So let me stream 23, so this one, right? So now we can click on adjust and then just start cropping the image just for selecting only the the height, the necessary height we want. So like this one, click on OK, and now we can make it bigger because you can see now it's smaller than 30 millimeters because it is not reaching the border of the template. We can make it bigger, more or less 30 millimeters, right? So this is at the beginning. We are designing an object. During the designing process, we can be taking decisions in terms of adding 1 millimeter or half a millimeter, depending on the composition that we are creating. That means that we don't need to be obsessed with 30 millimeters, exact 30 millimeters at the beginning of the process, because the designing process is a very long process to make. So at this point, it's just having a reference. Okay, so let me save this file. This is a heart and Dagger pendant. One. This is going to be the first file. Okay, let me read the comments. What do you mean with file organization? Hello, welcome. So okay, let's keep working. So now then I start creating the scrolling, the necessary scrolls. I'm going to make a duplicate just for having a bigger. We can call this rename. This is going to be 30 millimeter template, right? Just for having a reference. What I used to do, this is just my personal preferences. When I am having a subtool, which I use it as a reference, as a units reference or millimeter reference or distance reference, I like to change the color. Most of the time I select to a red color. So we can go now to RGB field object, just for knowing that this tool is related to any unit reference. Doesn't matter of depending on a distance, a thickness, or in this case a template for the Y and for the top of the, or the height of the object we are about to create. So now let's append now a cylinder. The cylinder is here, and this is the pendant, this is the cylinder. Okay, let's come back to white color again. Another setting that I changed from the grid, personal preferences. So set up this fill mode from 1 to 3. Set up the enhance factor from 0.75 to 1, and set up the enhance opacity from 0.75 around the middle. I mean, now we are getting 0.44, 0.45. This is going to be enough. And I mean that the image is not too bright and it's not too soft. I don't know how to say it. Like that, we can stay in the middle, like this. So now at any time when now we go from the gizmo to the transpose line, you know, so you can use the Y from your keyboard, or you can turn on and off this button. So now we are going to use this transpose line as a ruler or as a tool for taking measurements. For example, if we want to know, let me grab this distance from this point to this point based on the drawing that we have on the screen. For example, here on my top left corner, here, over here, maybe I'm pointing to you right here. That means that this thickness of this wire, or this piece of material, this kind of metal that we are about to create, based from the reference that we have on the screen, we are talking about around 2 millimeters. You can see here, taking the units again, from this point to this point, we are having the distance from this point to this point is 1.8388 millimeter. We can say we are around 2 millimeter. So if we grab the cylinder here, it has sense. You can see it is almost 2 millimeter. That means that we can start creating the heart, the thickness of the wires that we are gonna start making the base meshes of the heart. So they could be around between 2 or 3 millimeters. So in terms of, they are not going to be too thin or too thick. Maybe 2 millimeters, maybe 3 millimeters, maybe it's too thick, depending on the area or the surface of the curve. For example, here we have more, it is thicker here than here. Maybe the minimum thickness could be 2 millimeter. It's going to be strong enough, I think, and we can go till maybe 4, maybe 3.5 millimeter on the thicker places, right? Amilanji Jala, hello. You're a very good designer. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for being here. I'm using a tablet. I'm using a Wacom tablet, a Cintiq tablet. So the Cintiq, you know, is an interactive screen where you can sculpt or draw directly on top of the screen. And did you make the material or buy it new? Such material is not available. This material, I bought it, or I found it somewhere on internet. I don't know where. You can see I have many other materials. Some of them made myself just for tweaking different parameters from the material settings, and other many of them just downloaded from the net. And you can see here we have a collection of many different materials, which starts from AL. I don't know what does it mean. Maybe the guy who made them. I have a big group of different kind of clay materials here. So let's start. Let's go with this, and let's put this here, for example. Let's make it longer. Let's send it Control C. Let's send it in the middle. So let's make it longer, because we need a long wire first to start bending, making the. And now we are gonna make polygroups based on the caps, this side, and the body of the cylinder. You know how to do this. It's groups by normals. So you have a new 3 different polygroups. And now this is because we have this long, elongated or very long polygons, they're going to be difficult to bend or to sculpt or to modify. It's gonna be a good choice, good idea of going to geometry, series measure. Let's tell the ZBrush we are looking for the same amount. Keep the group. Don't apply any smoothing to the groups. And we can the adaptive size. We can change the unit from 50 to 0 because we want to make the new polygons as more regular as possible all over the surface. So series measure. And this is what we get, maybe very big polygons. Maybe it's gonna be a better idea to select double instead of same. Let's double again. So I think the topology is going to be enough. And now we are gonna use the gizmo for start creating the shape of the heart. Right? You know that there is how did I find such good references? The place that where I go when I'm looking for references or inspiration, I think I already said this many times, so it's Pinterest. So I'm logging in. For example, here you can start typing here a scroll jewelry designs, for example, and you start getting a huge amount of, I don't know why I'm having this, but for example, a scroll and scrolls and curves jewelry design or something like this. So we are start getting this kind of references. And once you click on one, you will get more images related from the latest clicking. So, and then you start collecting and watching over. It's an endless play for gathering information or inspiration and many different things. So the answer to your question is Pinterest. By the way, Nacho made 2 free hours on bronze material. Yeah, they are on my Arstation. Thanks, Dexter, for. I forgot to tell you, if you are watching my face at the bottom of my floating head, you have the access to my LinkTree. I will show you what you can get if you go there. Let me show you where I am here. You are clicking to my LinkTree. You can see you are reading here at the bottom. It's LinkTree /Nacho Riesco. For example, also you have this keyshot materials, if you just in case you are interested or you are using keyshot for your renderings. But if you go to my Arstation, as Fexter already said on the chat, and you clicking here on the first on the first picture from this bronze animal material, and you scroll down till the bottom, so you will get this matte caps. For example, you can click here on the link, and they are for free. So they are bronze material, so with different kind of finishing. They are not, of course, same kind of material that we are using today, but just in case you are interested on collecting or gathering cool materials. Let me put this here. But let me see if, for example, if I click, let me make a quick search. If we type all ZBrush materials. Maybe you can, maybe they shoot this one. Adam Lewis material pack. So Adam Lewis new material pack. This is the same pack, or the same, even the material that I'm currently using is this one. AL30 is this one, the material that I'm currently using on the screen. But they're very cool. I will share them with you on the chat. So let me copy this link and put it on the chat. There you go. And that's it. How do you know how to convert a 3D object into 3D? I don't know what you mean. If it is already a 3D object, why do you need to convert it into 3D? So I need more information to answer in your question. Nick Tyler, what kind of mount do you use for? I'm using an old 22 inches Wacom tablet with it has the mount already assembled on the screen. Yeah, because I like to, for example, when I'm working is just always being seated 90 degrees, legs and body, placing the elbow on the table, and also I'm using this kind of soft surface. Put the elbow on the table and then painting or sculpting directly on the screen. So don't bend your back, because it can cause pain on your back or on your shoulder, and you are having your table upper or lower from your shoulder. Maybe you can get pain on your shoulder as well. So I'm using the 22 inches, the old model of from Wacom. For example, this is if we go here to Google again. This is the, I am talking about this Cintiq 22 inches Wacom tablet. It's not the maybe the old Wacom. It's this one. When you can see the support of the base is already assembled on the, and also I got it almost 90 degrees. It's not 100% 90 degrees. It's a little bit bended to the back, but almost 90 degrees on top of the on the table. Yeah, hunching over and fencing like crazy with, yeah. If you are bending your back, or you start bending your neck, or you are placing your shoulder up or down, maybe during your life you're gonna get a lot of pain everywhere. So be careful with that. So that's the reason why I like to be seated with the elbow blocked on top of the table with a soft surface underneath, and then the only part of the arm that I am moving is the pivoting from the elbow to this direction, from up back, left and right. So I'm not moving the arm from the shoulder joint. Hope this helps. Yeah, I like the position. It looks pretty natural. Yeah, many guys are trying to play Cintiq more or from in my opinion, placing the Cintiq or horizontal or even 40 degrees is a big mistake, in my opinion, because you are, as you said, you're punching over your back over the Cintiq, and during the working time, and it hurts neck and shoulder badly in long session. Yeah. I prefer, of course, when you are sitting, you can being seated, just moving your chair. Today, the chairs that we are using, we can bend it from the back to the back or to the front, but I'll always try to keep the arm rest on the table, not drawing or sculpting on the air, forcing your shoulder, your shoulder. How do I convert 2D photos to 3D? Yeah, I'm showing to you how I do it. So I'm using ZBrush, so I'm start with primitive or with neutral forms. I'm start modeling or sculpting the form that I'm looking for. So the answer to your question, how do I convert 2D photos to 3D? Using ZBrush is the answer. Techniques, there are many techniques, but depending on the kind of designs that you need to create. For example, for today's design, I'm going to show you, probably many of you already know this technique. When you are using your gizmo, any different value different than -100, for example, I'm gonna grab this setting from the focal, I'm talking about the focal shift, I'm sorry, focal shift from -100 to 0. You're about to create stuff like this. You can see it's like you can transform your gizmo into a bending tool, where you can start bending and creating different forms. You can go from a straight form to a very curved form with a very complicated curves, with easily just changing different values of the focal shift. For example, if I go put the gizmo here and I start bending, we can start grabbing here. For example, if I now grab the move, we can start moving this. Now we can, for example, changing the position, we can start bending here. For example, going here like this. Let's go here. For example, if we place here, just start adding the different values of your gizmo. You can start bending. Oops, I forgot. I turned on the symmetry by mistake. That's the reason why I was started having this kind of issues. So turn off the symmetry. So we can go here. For example, now we can place a mask from this point. So blur the mask. So now we can grab this and we can start grabbing the mask like this. Or for example, we can go to the default -100 value and we can start moving this. This is gonna be one technique that you can follow. I'm just making this just for showing to you, just in case you didn't use this in the past. So you can use this. I will show you more techniques about how to create this. We can stand this till getting the shape that you are looking for example, like this. We can go the focal shift again to 0. You can see here is very, you can see here now if you start having this, that means that the topology that we are currently have, if I turn on my topology, you can see now the polygons, they are not uniform enough to start creating complex forms. So now that means that it's time for creating a new topology. So coming back to the series measure, maybe now instead of double, we can click on same. And now with more polygons, with more uniform polygons, we are going to be able to create for example things like this. We can select any of the move brushes. In this case, the move infinitive is going to be useful, and we can start adjusting the. This is the first technique. For example, we can start applying polishing here or going here. Of course, if we can go now from, we can adjust more or less the curvature polishing. For example, it is a base. That means that we are not looking for yet a perfect match with the drawing on the back, so we are just creating the starting point. But we can go now to start mirroring well till getting this hurt. This is gonna be the first technique, and we can now go to the second one. For example, like this. We are starting using the template, the simple 3D plane, and there is a very useful brush for making this kind of stuff. Is the curve tube snap. You go to brushes and you press your C from your keyboard. You will find it here. So what is it? It's a curve tube snap brush, this one. And now you can start drawing, following the picture on the back, and you're gonna start drawing and creating directly the form with exactly with the same shape that you have, that you are looking for. With the first technique, you start with a neutral straight form, and you need to start bending till getting the necessary forms. But with this brush, you can just go ahead and paint directly the forms that you want. In my opinion, I prefer the number 2 because it's more effective. You are saving time, but maybe at the end we are gonna join forces. We are gonna make a combination of both. We are gonna use the gizmo and we are gonna use the curve tube snap with any other brushes till getting the forms of the kind of shapes that you are looking for. So it's just for giving to you as more information as possible during the streaming. That's a little neck pain, yes, and then just from using PC and Word. Yeah, that's a very common way of having pain on the neck, a bad position. You don't want pain more and more, and use less tech. Yes, I have to say I have been using ZBrush for almost 20 years till today, and I didn't get any pain on the neck or on the back or on my arms or my shoulders. I think, and it is related to the position that you are taking when you are working. Because, for example, you can be sitting in front of the on the Wacom in front of the computer for more than 8 hours, depending on the working load that you have at the moment. But if you are having a very good position and you are taking the necessary breaks during the working time, just for resting your arms and resting your back, you are not going to have problems. The chair is also very important, but in my opinion, more than the chair is the position of the screen when we are talking about thin ticks, right? Because you work closer to the screen. When you are using a mouse, maybe the position could be a bit different, but if we're talking about thin ticks or interactive screens, the position of the arm in this case and of the back is very important. How to keyboard use whole company keyboard? I don't know what you mean. Milan Jinjala. Yes, we can tapered edges. Are you referring to this? For example, when you are having the curve still active, as I have now on the screen, if you go to stroke and you go to curve functions, no, I'm sorry, you go to curve modifiers, you can open this curve section and you can turn on this button, the size button, and then when the curve is active, if you are tapping on the curve, this is what you are taking. You can start creating your mesh from thick to thin, just having this graphic. That means that you have the 100% thick and you have 100% thin. In this case, it goes from the thicker to the thinner with its maximum volume. For example, if you change now the size of the brush and you touch, you can see what I mean. So from the maximum thick to the minimum thick. For example, if you are looking for example, something completely different, which goes from thin to thick to thin again. So it goes from thick to thin, to thin to thick and to thin. So we will need something like this. So we will need another point here, and we will get something like this. If we are looking for thicker endings, not so thin, we can grab these points and we can put them here, and we will get something like this. So this is going to be very, very useful. Let me make the brush a little bit smaller, and this is what we get. I prefer, for example, if you are using a bigger brush, the segments, the distances between each segment will become bigger. That means that if you are looking for very, I don't know how to say, very closed corner like that we have here, it's gonna be easier if you, let me make this smaller. You can see here with a smaller brush, with a smaller brush size, you're gonna get more effective if you are looking for to have the whole distance or the whole path from the beginning till the end. For example, if you make the brush size bigger, you can see what happens here, because when you are making your brush size bigger, you are making the segments bigger also. But you can do also, you can go to brush, and you can go to modifiers, and you can go to these two values, the curve resolution and the curve max bend angle. For example, now by default it has 27. If we go from 27 to 45, let's see what happens. You can see you start matching better the result compared with the drawing on the back. For example, now if you go from the curve resolution, that means when we are talking about curve resolution, we talk about the distance of each segment. For example, the segments, now here we have different colors, black and red, black, red, black, red. I mean, it's black or red distance of each color. You go, a very effective number is number 3. It's gonna be enough, but you can go over to number 6 and you will get even better resolution, but with a smaller brush. It's up to you just for getting the necessary, but I prefer, instead of being fighting or trying to find the right numbers of the different settings, for example, in my opinion, I prefer, as I said before, just create a base mesh, and after, with the smooth brushes, or with the smooth brush, with the inflate brush, I start sculpting and modifying the curves. I'm not looking for the perfect curve at the first time. I prefer just creating a base mesh, and from that point we can move forward with the sculpting process, still getting the shape that I'm looking for. It's much more effective. Yeah, the graph is not very intuitive. Yeah, it's very intuitive, maybe because it's very simple. It is very simple. You are just adding points and that's it. But as I said before, it's much better to have a more approximated form. Talking about a base mesh as a starting point, instead of being fighting with the perfect curve with this setting. So yeah, we're talking about Illustrator, because Illustrator or CorelDRAW or whatever, another vector application, we are talking about a completely different thing. We are talking about Bezier curves or NURBS curves when we are talking about Rhino or another CAD softwares. The way of working is completely different. Here we are working with meshes. With the behavior of the meshes is completely different than vectors of TSP lines or whatever other application. I think this is, for any reason, it is a feature that ZBrush was is not able to implement. I don't know why. This kind of, that way of working when we are talking about curve, because I have been watching something very similar with the Nomad. You know, Nomad is the application of whether you are using a sculpting application that you use on your tablets, and they have a very cool feature when you're working with curves, when you're applying different control points, and you can move the curve, very intuitive, applying different forms, different very complex forms. But the curves inside of ZBrush, they're maybe a bit basic, but it doesn't matter, because at the end we are having much more other powerful tool for getting what we are looking for. It's not the matter of having the perfect tool for getting things just with one click or at the first time. So yeah. So this is another technique, and I will just show you one more thing. This is gonna be the system number 2. I'm gonna apply one, we're gonna start using a new one, and this is the technique that I use usually. My personal preference is this one. I start using the C Remeasure Guide brush. So this is a way where you can create many different curves at the same time. So when we have this kind of composition, for example, where we need one curve, it's going to be this one, another curve is going to be this one, another curve is going to be this one, another curve is going to be this one. I mean that the main form is going to be split into small parts, just for being able to modify them individually. So during the sculpting process, we are going to be able to merge everything together and start sculpting them as a one uniform surface. But during the creation process or the designing process, or when we are making the block out of the form, we can split the design into individual part. So we're going to be more flexible for working with individual meshes, instead of trying to sculpt everything from the same mesh. So this is as we have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe here we can 5. This is going to be the 5th. Here we can have another one, the 6th. Of course, this is going to be the 7th one, and so on. Maybe the 8, the 9, depending on how many elements we want to create. For example, if we go again to the reference from Pure Ref I just shown you before. For example, here you have the same concept here, right? So when we have one, you have another one here, you have another one here, you have another one here. So small little pieces which they are going to be welded together or booleaned together in this case. So during the sculpting process for giving the final result. But during the blockout part of the process, in my opinion, has more sense to split everything into as more parts as possible. So during the sculpting process, we can be merging things together if necessary, but if it is not necessary, it's much better to keep them separated during the sculpting process or the designing process, because keep in mind that we are on a designing process. That means that we are not copying anything that which already exists. So we are about to create something new. So we are gonna develop our minds or the ideas during the designing process. So it's more challenging. Nick Taylor, once you start drawing overlapping elements, will this curve tube cause problem on overlapping areas? No, no, because for example, I will show you one example. Let me grab the okay, I already have this brush selected. So the trick of this for avoiding getting overlapping areas, as you said. For example, I'm gonna start painting my curves. This is going to be the main path, the main shape of the heart. Let's make a new one here. Let's make a new one here again. Here, for example. And for example, let's create this one here. I'm gonna create, I like this little part. So till getting here, and I'm gonna make an example about the overlapping. I'm gonna cross this just for getting, it has a sense this in this case, but just for showing to you what happens here. So this is what you have. Another extra tip that I can give you, for example, if for any reason you are not good at painting regular curves, let me, for example, I'm going to use this. For example, it is not perfect because you are using a mouse, for example. You can see the curve is not perfect, but if you are using this number 6 from your keyboard, you can see you can start adding tension to the curve, just till getting everything perfect, a more perfect path, of course. For example, let me show you another example like this. Of course, we are talking about small issues. So if you start pressing the number 6, you can see what happens with the curve, but you can start hitting the number 6 many times like this, number 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, and then you start getting a much more perfect. So you can do, we can apply to number 6 now here for getting softer transitions on the curves. And now you can grab now, first step, series measure guide brush. When with the series measure guides, you are just drawing your guides. And then the second step is grabbing the curve tube snap. Let me check if I already, okay, let me turn off my size. And then just clicking on one, you will get all the curves placed at once. So maybe they are too thick. Maybe let's make it thinner. And this is what we get. You can see now there isn't any overlapping here. And all of them are individual elements. Not yet, because all of them are grouped on the same subtool, but as a third step, we're going to split mass point, split two parts, and we will be able to start modifying them individually. what key button is 6? Yeah, so the number 6 on your keyboard. Team Marcel. The number 6 on your keyboard. So now let me go now to split. Okay, if you want to get rid of the curve, so just press Alt and tap everywhere to get rid of the curve, because it's not gonna be necessary to modify it anymore. So we can split a mask points. So we have this. Of course, at this time, what I'm gonna do is auto groups. I'm gonna Control Shift and tap, invert and delete hidden, and this is gonna be the what button is that bone to in the I don't know what you mean, but T Marshall, I don't know what you mean. What button is that? Are you about what button are you talking about? Auto groups? Yeah, you made it similar object in 3D Max with sub-D modeling. Yeah, poly modeling, but be connecting separate element into one clean solid volume. It gets, yeah, could be. I think I will show you during this the creation process. We will go to Dynamesh, or we will make in booleans for welding or for merging things together, just for getting one single mesh, depending on the forms now we need to create. But as a base mesh, as a starting point, it's gonna be very useful getting this. Also, what we can do is split everything into parts, therefore getting every single tube in an individual layer and in an individual subtool. Yeah, it could be useful or not, but I prefer to keep them. For example, we can say that this tube could be considered a different part of the main path. It's gonna be this arc, so maybe we can Control Shift, tape here and split hidden, just for getting this into an individual subtool. And for example, this one also, no, I think this one is not going to be necessary, but we're going to start, for example, mirror and well. Sometimes ZBrush is giving to you this message. I don't care about it. It's saying floor grid, elevation, so always yes. And we will get this, the heart of the shape. That means that the mirror and well does is copying the existing part, mirror it and weld it in another. But I want to keep this separated, so let me push this to the left and push this to the right. So this is, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. I don't want to weld this point. I want to keep that separated, but of course I want to keep this welded together. So now we already have a heart shape to start working with. Pressing Shift is a shortcut for what button? What button? The button number 6 on your keyboard. You have the numbers, number 6 on your keyboard. Okay, perfect. There you go. How to sculpt the metal for minimal thickness. Yeah, maybe 0.4 millimeter. It's gonna be very small. To think, for example, the minimum thickness that we already have on the screen now, it is very thin. For example, if I zoom in here, if I start grabbing the transpose line, here we are having wires of 1.3 millimeters. We were saying before, having an average between 2 or 3 has more sense, because we are stay far away from 2 millimeters, 1.3. Maybe what we can do now, we can inflate everything like this. You know that you keep pressed the Control key and you use the central yellow square on your gizmo, you can inflate it positive or negative. We can keep getting thicker piece of material. You can, now we have 2 millimeter. And now, for example, we can now go to polish. Not polished yet. Maybe we can go to the series measure. Give me the double amount of polygons, keep the groups, makes polygons regular with the symmetry turning on. Oh, I made a mistake. Let me separate this again, because I want to keep them separated like this. Let's series measure, so to get a more regular distribution. Let's start polishing. Polish. Okay, and this is better. Now we have here 1.8 millimeter. So okay, we are in a good point. So from 1.8, from around 2 millimeter, we can go till 3 millimeter on the thicker areas if necessary. For example, here, adding 2 tubes together, here we have 2 millimeters and 2 millimeter. Okay, but there is a lot of to make yet. So, but as a starting point, it's a good point. We have the right units, the right measurements now to work with. Oh, stroke, curve functions, course smooth. Yes, the number 6. Yes, the same thing. Oh, you were referring about the original, which was the button assigned to the number 6 keyboard. I'm sorry. I didn't understand you. Yeah. The stroke, he was saying about the stroke. Let me say the stroke, curve function, smooth. Yeah, you can see here the bottom path. You can see here. Let me put this here. Maybe you should know this stroke, curve function. You press the control key over any button like this. You can see smooth curves. Number 6 means the shortcut. This is the shortcut assigned to this brush. It's the same time. Okay. Thank you very much, White Void. Thank you. Beckmore, ¿tienes algún curso donde se pueda aprender lo que haces? Que esté disponible, no. Normalmente suelo hacer alguno, pero ahora mismo no hay ninguno disponible ni tengo pensado hacer alguno más de momento. Quizás durante el año igual tengo alguna oferta de alguna academia o me da por hacer un curso y lo publico en redes, pero de momento no tengo nada. En español, en inglés algunos sí. All these maximums keystroke presenters. Yeah, that's the main problem about the shortcuts. When we are using shortcuts, yeah, all of the software has shortcuts. Yeah, it's I don't know if there is under the documents you can download a sheet or something with all of the shortcuts. But if you want to know a shortcut from any of the existing buttons, just hover over the button. For example, duplicate subtool, in this case is Ctrl+Shift+D. It's like if the button already has a shortcut assigned, you will get it here on screen. So Ctrl+D, divide, smooth, hasn't any shortcut, and for example, save as, lot tool, hasn't, activate symmetry is the X. So this is a big help. And the same thing, if you stay on the button, if you press the control key, ZBrush will tell you what that button does. It's a short tutorial about what it does. It could be a good help also for new users. And so when will you stream with your rendering process? Yeah, this is an idea I was talking about at the beginning of this streaming about a possible future project that we have. We will be at Patreon. So I will be there posting more videos about my sculpting processes, and I will include my keyshot rendering techniques there. So it is still an idea, but I can give you the, just in case you are interested. If you go to my Patreon, I don't know if you already know. Let me see. Nacho, Riesco. Nacho, Patreon. This is the, I don't find it. I don't know what it is. Let me say Patreon. Nacho. I'm trying to find the link because I'm still under construction. But I will give it to you after the streaming because I don't want to be here. Let me show you. Let me make. If I can log in inside of Patreon. Let's see. It's already mean a code to log into the webpage. Okay, but what I want to tell you, it's maybe in the future I'm going to have live a Patreon page when just you will get access to more content about what I'm doing, because today I'm only streaming once a month and maybe I'm not covering the amount of content that I want. So I want to create a Patreon page where you will get access to more other content, not only to the stuff that I am making with ZBrush. I have in mind to include the rendering process with Keyshot. I will show you, also I will share with you my custom brushes, my custom materials, rendering technique tips and stuff like that. So maybe in the future I will post it on my social media when it is live. I don't know when. We will use stream with your rendering process. You need center profile of those curves, like a sharp ridge in the middle, and then the smooth curves on both sides. Can you do that in ZBrush? Maybe something like a love tool. Let me read it again. Yeah, the center profile on this, like a sharp ridge in the middle, yeah, and the smooth on the curves at both sides. I will say that it's a matter of. The answer to your question is sculpting techniques. I will start sculpting for achieving what you are saying. For example, the ridge in the middle, sharp edge in the middle, this becomes softer till the end. Or for example, I will show you. And my technique is just you can't. For example, you can create your. I have seen other techniques where you are creating a custom curve brush, which it already has the shape that you are looking for, the profile that you are looking for. But I prefer start from neutral tubular, in this case curve profile, circular profile, and then I modify the profile based on the area of the path with the sculpting process. And then it's sculpting time. So sculpting, making the ridges, making the soft edges, whatever you need with the sculpting process. Yeah, Fexter, I will talk more about it in the future because I'm still under construction, the Patreon. You can see even I don't find it. I don't know where it is, so I still need to log in because I already got it on my LinkTree, but any reason I remove it from my LinkTree board. And let me if I log into the LinkTree, if I turn on the visibility of the Patreon, I will because it's very important to promote yourself, and I'm very bad about for promoting by myself, I have to say. But here I don't know why I remove the Patreon button. What a disaster. For example, because if I go to the Google again here, if I no, for example, came to me another Nacho. It's not me, but I don't know how to find my Patreon. Wow, I don't know. But I will post it on my social media, of course, and I will promote it on my next streaming. I'm sure. I will get everything ready. So I have in mind to start making videos or making lives twice a month or 3 times a month, depending on the available time that I have. But what I did with my Patreon. Check the Twitter, the content. Let's see if it is here. Twitter. No, I removed Patreon. Okay, I will share it with you in the future. James Landry, gracias por la transmisión. I'm used to stream once a month, and in the future I will be streaming more through my Patreon website, but it is not available yet. Maybe in the future, I don't know when. But today I'm streaming once a month. I'm streaming with Max on ZBrush once a month. Jerry, I will take your website. Yes, sure. I will share it with my website. Of course, we are talking about me, so let me see if we go to. I will post it here. Of course, if you are having my website, I will post my Patreon on my website. Of course, there you go. So this is my website. So you will. Also, if you go to courses or tutorials, you will get access to all of my previous ZBrush live streamings. Just clicking here, you will get access to all of the list, the whole list. Because I don't know, for any reason, if you go to the Maxon channel, Maxon ZBrush channel, they don't have all of them collected. You missed many of them. I don't know, it is not has been actualized for any reason. But if you go to my website, and you go here, you go to my web page, you will find more videos, everything. More of the content is related to jewelry, but you have more stuff. But you can arrive to both places through my website, through my tutorials. The courses is not available yet. I only have one course at Vertex School. I don't know if it is already available, or maybe in the future they will release. You can join the wait list. It is not available today, but we have more. And also, if you go, you can contact me whenever you want. Okay, let's. Just to feel guilty about distracting me. So this is the best thing that I like about the streamings is being talking with all of you. So I prefer to being talking or being discussing or being showing to you different techniques instead of being focused about what I want to make. So I think it's much more interesting for giving to you information instead of just showing to you what I'm able to create with ZBrush. Okay, you're welcome. I'm really proud of it. If I'm able to explain myself and giving to you new information. So okay, let's go ahead with the sculpting part of the process. For example, one thing that I'm gonna use is I'm gonna grab the move infinitive Don't forget this brush is very useful, the Move Infinity brush. I will show you the differences between the default Move brush. For example, if I want to make this part thicker, like this, for example, not here, for example here, I want to move this. I want to modify the profile here. You can see now everything works from the front, but if we go on the back, you can see the things that the sculpting form that we are creating on the front is not, they're not happening on the back. Of course, you can now go to start making a mirror and well on the Z axis, just for grabbing this side of the object and paste it on the other side. But instead of use the default brush, Move brush, I recommend to you to go to Move Infinity brush. With this one, you can see everything what you are making on the front is gonna happen on the back. It's gonna, so it's like the reason why Move Infinitive is we are using the Z depth for copying the movements from the front to the back. Maybe it's a bit difficult to explain, but this brush becomes very useful when we are creating reliefs or we are creating flat object or almost flat objects, because the object is not going to be flat, but at this moment of the designing process we are working with a flat element. I mean flat, it is completely vertical. At the end we will use, for example, some kind of bent arc just for applying this kind of shape to the heart. But at this point we are just focused on the composition and on the forms. So I'm going to use Move Infinitive with a combination of two different features like topological and backface mask. So with the topological option active, you can see if I'm touching this tube, I am not affecting to the others. So I'm going to put this, let me take this thing just for having a reference, like this. So I can start changing the shape. We can now go from thick to thin where necessary. I forgot to turn on the symmetry, my mistake, so but no problem. We can go now to mirror and well and copy and now turn on the symmetry, so like this. And now we can turn off the back face. We can start changing the position now with the help of a mask. Invert the mask, put here. We can start. We can make it smaller. Still getting the shape that we are looking for. So we can be turning on and turning off the back face mask where necessary. At this point, we are only worried about the thickness. We are not still worried about the profile. So we can, you press the Alt key, you can push back or bring it to the front or send it to the back as easy as holding the Alt key. Yes. And now we can start so there, let me invert the mask and we can sweep. Hola Vicel, ¿qué tableta uso? Uso una, estuvimos hablando antes de ello, una Wacom Cintiq de 22 pulgadas, el modelo antiguo. El modelo Cintiq. Por aquí, por ejemplo, we can bring using this. And this should be on top. Maybe them underneath. They go from top to bottom. Yeah, something like this. Also, you can apply, for example, if I am trying to smooth or to make this tip thinner using the smooth brush, you can see when I smooth in this area, the smooth brush is affecting to this tip also. But if you press the shift key and you turn on your topological feature, you are only able to apply this. And with this combination, even having all of the tubes combined into the same subtool, it is very easy to handle, because with the topological feature you can differentiate with different meshes. Another cool feature that you have inside of ZBrush is the AccuCurve option. I have this so if you want to, for example, I will show you this, the main difference between the AccuCurve. You can see the AccuCurve is not active now. I can make this shape, but with the AccuCurve active, I can make this shape. You can see when you are looking for more pointy endings with a sharp endings like this, you can use the AccuCurve option like this. You see now the difference with AccuCurve and without the AccuCurve. You can see, and this will be very useful. So that's the reason why I have all of them on my custom interface. If you are interested on my custom interface, you can go to my website again. You can go to resources section, and you can scroll down and you will have here my custom interface. You are interested on download it, so you will get the same interface that you are watching on my screen now, with the same organization of buttons. Also, you have more things like materials, how fast, and more stuff related to ZBrush and Keyshot as usual. Okay. How many people are we? I don't know. Okay, let's keep working so we can start. Just for asking one of the previous questions, let me make one more last change now here. For example, I can select this and send it to the back like this. Maybe we can make this thing a little bit thicker. So here we have 2.4 millimeter. Maybe let's make it even thicker like this. Okay, we can polish this form. I already have a set of stones, hem cuts. I'm sorry, is this one. Then it already has different cuts of a stone. Maybe there you can grab, you can find. I don't know if it's exactly this brush or other. When you can have different hem cuts. There's the heart shape, pear, emerald, oval, marquise, and round, because this is gonna be the idea I started talking about at the beginning of the streaming. Let me split mass points. So we will also create the basket for the stone. during a different life, not today. The stone setting, I mean, the necessary basket, and this is gonna be the more or less the same, the composition of the. Let me change the color. Maybe I'm going to use. What time is it? Okay, we already have 30 minutes more. I'm looking for. Where are you? A material. This is the jelly bean material. I like this one with the red color. So I'm gonna mRGB fill object. Instead of being today more focused about the sculpting part of the process, I mean the sculpting part when we start detailing the different scrolls and the different what I did here, the sculpting part of the process, I mean, I think let me being more focused about the composition, right? So let's make it. Oh no, it's not two, it's this one. So I mean that we are not getting to the sculpting part of the process yet, so we will be working more on the composition. So if we talk about the composition, we need this number 2. Maybe we can make it thicker, like this. Now it's time to get in a new topology. Well, I think it's good enough. No, let's change it. Let's create the same amount of polygons. Okay, this. It's very important to apply some polishing touches for getting a uniform mesh to work with. So let's make things thicker. Let's mirror well. We can turn on the AQ curve as we did before. This back face now for getting sharper. Forgot to turn on the symmetry again. Well, okay, like this. Maybe we can make the same amount of polygons. Okay. So for example, back, but you can see that I'm just moving the surface with and without the back face, and with and without the AQ curve, just for changing the original shape, the original simple shape. I'm gonna get rid, for example, you want to get rid of one part of the of the tube or of the mesh, you can hide and delete hidden, of course, but during the sculpting, the designing process, maybe having faster tools to work with, in terms of we can make things very fast just for watching the results quickly. So you can use now the Sculptis Pro, get rid of the part of the curve that you are not interested in, and now you can zero measure. So conclusion is, a very fast way to destroy meshes is this Sculptis Pro. Maybe let's duplicate this, and maybe we can let's let's see if I rotate. No, rotate it this way. I'm having the same thing. So we send it to the center, and we rotate it this way, and we rotate it this way. Let's see what we get. I like this part of the heart. I think I prefer, for example, I was thinking about how to fill this empty space that we already have here, right? We have a huge empty space, but this thing that this heart has in the middle, it's very cool. I think we can apply it, we can make it. I think it can be interesting. But maybe for having the whole composition, this is the problem. You can see the object is exactly the same from the back that from the front. It's not a big issue that we can mirror on well on the z-axis like this, and now it is 100% mirrored at both sides. Let me see how big is the stone, just for making things real things. So that means that we are not putting a stone size that doesn't exist. So let's go. Now it is 9mm tall. Yeah, depending on where we buy the stones, maybe we can tell us that they have available, for example, 12mm instead of 9. I'm looking for maybe a stone a bit bigger. Okay, bigger, more expensive, but this first time I think compare. Maybe yes, 2mm. 12. Let's stay with 12. Depending on if we are talking about real gems or we are talking about colored crystals. Okay, it's up to you, or it's up to the client in this case. But most of the time the clients are looking for beautiful things, but at the same time cheap to manufacture. So they are looking for the magical combination of, I want a spectacular design but very cheap to produce. So sometimes it's possible to make, but most of the time it's not so possible. I don't like this. Okay, I will show you one more trick with the transpose line. You know, you press the Alt key from your keyboard and you grab this internal red circle. I'm gonna apply a mask first because I'm looking for this shape. We already have this, and we are looking for something more like this, maybe, or maybe more. I'm not 100% sure what I am about to create, but yeah, maybe more something like this. Just lifting up this peak, this ending, and with the transpose line with the Alt key, it's gonna be very easy to create doing something like this. Don't forget to use your transpose line for modify objects. Using the Alt key, you can apply different actions to the internal circles that you have here. Being honest, I don't like it, so I'm gonna destroy this. I prefer, yes, I'm gonna destroy this a little bit more. I like this more. And also if I join with the back face, this part with this part, and make something like this. I think I prefer how it looks now. Okay, I think I prefer, yeah. Even we are applying maybe more strength to this, because if not, it can be easy to break. If I fill this gap, we will apply more metal here, so this area will become more difficult to bend or to break. So now we will get here the digger in the middle. Don't forget that you already have the one floor already tweaked with image attached, and with custom settings. We can go to draw and to save your grid or your floor for the next session. Let me save it, and now I'm gonna load here another image. I'm gonna load this image, and this is gonna be in the center, and this is gonna be bigger, more or less something like this, something vertical like this. It's gonna be this size, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe 1.8. No, not that much. 1.7. Yeah, more or less something like this with a vertical thing. It's not going to be exactly the same shape of the digger, but of course maybe the handle is too long. We're gonna need to play with the different parts of the digger. So, but this is gonna be the idea or the concept. Let me save this as the grid number 2. I'm gonna read your comments. Yeah, it looks like a fleur de lis. Yeah, this one. Yeah, here. But I'm gonna try to stay away from that shape. Because let me try, because this is a flower bag. This is an inverse flower. Let me see, but I will try to stay away from that concept if possible. Me he fijado que tienes un tipo de diseño, me refiero a que todas tus piezas tienen algo que se asemejan, tienen sentido. ¿Cómo es tu esa manera de diseñar, de tener tu propio estilo? Uy, pues yo la verdad es que pienso todo lo contrario. Be self. Pienso todo lo contrario, pienso que nunca he sido capaz de crear un estilo. Que siempre me he basado en muchos estilos y me gustan muchas cosas y no me he centrado en desarrollar un estilo propio. Pero no sé, me alegro que lo veas así. Me alegro de que lo veas así, porque la verdad es que es algo complicado de hacer. De hecho, ya te digo que yo creo que no lo he conseguido. Que no lo tengo. Creo. Es mi criterio, vamos. I started watching you go from a cube to cylinder in about 30 minutes. A cube to cylinder. I don't know why 2 minutes now. No. It is not almost done. We need a lot to make. We are still have to make a lot to make, but we are just building or making the idea or the concept here, or materializing the idea that we had in mind. So just playing with forms and with different shapes. We still have a long trip till getting the final result, but but this is another thing that I like about ZBrush, and when you start getting used to it, it has a lot of power in terms of you are ready to materialize or to create things very quickly. So just transforming forms, stretching, making things bigger, smaller, playing with the shapes. So in my opinion, compared with other softwares, the freedom of creation that you have with the ZBrush. Okay, I'm gonna create the blade. So let's start with this. I'm gonna use this brush, topology brush. I'm gonna start because I like the thing that I like the most about this drawing is the shape of the blade. Of course, probably it's not going to be 100% as it is now, but as a starting point, I like it. So let me start drawing like this. You know that this is a very cool brush to start painting or creating geometry very quickly. You can see just crossing lines. You can see the shaded areas that we have corresponds to the polygons that we are about to create. It just we tape everywhere. This is what we are getting. So we can now split mass points, and now we can mirror well. And this is now we have the blade with a well topology to handle. So let me turn on the symmetry, and then what we can do now is to make a mask of the middle. Mask pen, invert the mask, and we can make the mask only to this. Maybe we need to send it to the center first. There you go. This is what I'm looking for. Like this, and maybe thicker, and maybe we can turn on the 2 axes. And this is okay. We should, when we are creating a jewelry object, we should be thinking during the whole process about the measurements. For example, we are about to create here a thickness of 4 millimeters. Maybe it's too much. Maybe it's too much. Maybe we can, with the clip curve, for example, make it thinner like this. And now we can grab this. We can grab this, invert the mask, and we can start about creating the blade like this. Not too sharp, you're right, because but okay, this is what we're about to create, and maybe thicker. You want to make it exactly to match measurement. We can go now to the plugin, to the scale master, and now it has 3.3 millimeter thick from the sides. Maybe 3 millimeter. Yeah, I think it's gonna be okay. I think maybe we can, what we can do is change the profile, making something more like this. Okay. Yeah, something like this. No, I don't like it. So like this. We can now make it thicker, more exaggerated, and it should go longer. this. Like this. For example, if we go to the handle, maybe not a simple one, because this is gonna be the guard. Is I think the right name of about this part of a sword of knife. Could be the guard. I don't know. Yeah, we can append. Maybe we can create something like this using again the template. We can, for example, I have in mind something like this. We can apply number 6. Yep. Like this. Split mask points. Now we have this little guy here, so we can now go to series measure, and now we can polish it. We can inflate it. Can make it thicker. Keep in mind that we are still investigating, right? We are just trying to find good ideas, so we can use a tapering. Use here the taper to get this. And now we can copy, we can duplicate, mirror to the x-axis, and maybe mirror it to the y. Just forgetting for no, I don't like it. Maybe, well, let's keep this as a one version. Let's duplicate this and let's mirror and well. Maybe having this. Right, so we can now turn the symmetry X, Y, and Z. We can, with the Z-axis, we can start creating things like this. And more or less something like this. Let's create double. And this can be I think we should think more about this element, but let's see how it works. Something like this. Well, without the Sculpting Pro. Okay. I think it is cool because the language is the same. When we are having here scrolls, we are going to have scrolls all over the heart, so it could work. So we can start making the handle. We can grab insert primitives. I'm looking for the cylinder. Split mask points. Yeah, something like this. Let me taper it. Oop. Without symmetry. Taper. And taper here. Gizmo. Bigger. Keep in mind that that we have in mind now it's making two pendants in once with two elements. which we can convert it into a two individual pendants from the same pendant. We can put them, all of the two elements together and making a whole composition, or we can wear the heart or the dagger as individual pendants. So this is, now we are in a point that we need to start taking decisions about the composition. What we are watching now, for example, this is one cool thing that I like to do is, for example, if I turn on the floor, I come back to the draw part of the menu, and if I remove the image and I make it bigger like this, the floor is a very good element for designing. Why? Because I have let me see, remove here, this is the limits of the heart. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares, and now we have the dagger. It's gonna be around the middle. So I will have 1, 2, it is 3 tall. So I will have 25% of the heart here. So I'm talking about this composition from this point to this point, and in my opinion it is a bit unbalanced. So what I will do at first time, it's will make something more like this. Okay, maybe not that much, making something like this, right? You see what I mean? So maybe modifying the shape here of the heart, just for not having that much part unbalanced part of the, and maybe we can put it closer to the bottom, or maybe just push up a little bit the heart. I don't know what to say, but I was saying that this is a very good tool for having this kind of grid at the bottom, at the back, because we can see very easily the composition, the weights of the different elements of the composition. So having a reference on the back, in this case a grid, it's the floor is a grid. So let's see how it works. So what we can do now, it's go into plugin, transpose master, clicking on transpose master, and now we are going to select this element, this and this, making a mask. Let's push it back. Then let's make this thing, but not you. Let's apply a mask here. Let's make it bigger. Maybe squish it. Maybe we can change the shape of the heart a little bit. We still have to make, we are starting covering the empty space here at the bottom of the heart, but I think we already add maybe here to the scroll here. We will try to add here a small element here or here. Try to cover this empty spaces that we have there, but I think now it's more balanced. Maybe if we grab this, we grab this, yeah, and we make it longer. think maybe it will works better, and also maybe we can I don't, yeah, maybe making something more like this. I prefer it. Now it start looking better, my opinion. What do you think? Maybe we need to adjust this scrolls a little. You can see that we started from an existing design of a heart found on internet, but we start on this point creating our own design, not based on an existing one. So we just use it as an idea, as an initial idea. Of course, it's gonna be necessary to being tweaked a lot. So okay, let's see. Yep, I think maybe it works. I think, in my opinion, it's start working better. Maybe yeah, more open it like this. This is the plugin that I just used. This is the T Transpose Master. This is a very cool, useful feature inside of ZBrush, where you can group everything into one single subtool just for moving things as a one element. But you can see you can differentiate from different elements based on the previous subtool organization. Maybe I can maybe this. I think now it has more balance than before. Maybe the handle is too tall. Maybe can't be realistic, but so we went. Now let's go. We come back to the Z plugin and press on this button. ZBrush will replace and update all of the latest modification, and this is what we get. I think now it looks better. So now we are gonna attach here. It's gonna be it's going to be something like this, and let me read your comments. Se va viendo muy bien, gracias, Pisar. Me alegro de que te guste, la verdad es que le queda bastante. And what I have in mind is just for explaining to you everything before finish. So I'm gonna pen this ring. Okay, we're gonna have 2 loops here, just for attaching the something like this, just for attaching here the chain. And also we will get a third one just for, in this case, it's gonna face this way. So we will get to, and I already have one brush, one custom brush of a chain just for finishing. I will use it. So brush, a custom brush made by me, very easy to make. So this one, where you can create I think, no, this one wasn't made by me. This is a Cuban. The one that I made is the other one, this one. Don't forget that you go to stroke, curve, and you turn on AS line, you will be able to create straight lines like this. So let's split mass points. We will need to calculate a little bit the size of the chain. Of course, at this time it's just for checking how it looks like. We are not using real chain measurements, but so this is this, and this is gonna be this. Okay, so we are done for today. So let me save this. Next month we will be here working more on this design, starting working on the detailing the different elements, start working on the scrolls more, defining the profiles, because they have a circular boring profile. So we will change the profiles and adding details, considering the size. Of course, we are creating a very small object, so it's not necessary to being crazy about adding details. So we should be more thinking about the functionality of the object. But right, so we will be here making more progress on this design. I hope all of you will be here watching, and thanks to everybody who have been here on the live, and thanks to all of you who have been watching this video. And I will be here with more ZBrush and jewelry next month. So again, thank you everybody, take care. We'll see you here next month. Bye.